Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Blast at Quetta railway station in Pakistan's Balochistan province claims at least 26 lives, over 40 others wounded. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi pens emotional article on Ratan Tata, hails his legacy of innovation and making India better. Superstar singer Beyonce tops the list of Grammy Award contenders. Indian musician Ricky Cage also nominated for his album Break of Dawn. And Indian hockey captain Harmanpreet Singh wins Player of the Year award. PR Rajesh announced Best Goalkeeper at FIH Awards in Oman. All right, we'll start with the big news. A bombing claimed by Pakistani separatists killed 26 people, including 14 soldiers, at a railway station in the southwestern Balochistan province. The blast hit as passengers waited on a platform at the main railway station in the provincial capital Quetta. A hospital spokesman said that 14 members of the army and 12 civilians were killed. Wasim Beg, spokesman for Quetta's Sandaman Provincial Hospital, said 46 members of the security forces and 14 civilians were wounded in the attack. Despite frequent attacks in Balochistan, the toll of Saturday's blast was particularly high for the southwestern province, which borders Afghanistan and Iran. The train station explosion hit at around 8:45 a.m., which is 3:45 GMT.
People were running here and there in chaos. Some were injured, some with blown up legs, some with blown up arms and hands. People were just running here and there.
And DD India's Jessica Taneja has more information on this. She is joining us live. Jessica, what is the latest you can tell us? What do the preliminary reports indicate nature of the blast?
Well, if you look at what the reports have currently been put out, including the statement by the commissioner of Quetta, who has said that this seems to be a suicide attack, and also a note was released by the Baloch Liberation Army on social media. It hasn't been verified, but it does state that they claim responsibility for this attack, and this attack was on, as you pointed out, the military personnel who were returning after completing infantry school, and the attack seemed to have been targeted on them, but that also included 14 civilians who were injured, and the 26 people killed primarily were the military targets of the army, but at the same time civilians have also been made also part of that, and as well as injuring many others. Situation remains grim right now in Quetta, but the Baloch Liberation Army claiming these attacks has just seen a succession of events in the province so far. You'd recall more than 39 people have been killed in the last 1 week as well. The incidence of violence has been increasing in Balochistan, and that again, of course, due to the resentment against the current Punjabi government, as they say, at the helm of affairs in Pakistan.
Jessica, also, I mean, like you said, situation remains grim. Can you give us the update on the condition of the injured people? And like you said, BLA has taken the responsibility for the blast?
Well, if you look at the reports coming out from the local hospitals, there seems to be a surge of patients who've come with all kinds of wounds, and difficult to sort of discern at this point as to what the condition of those injured out there are. But the motivation of BLA continues in the region as it has in the past as well, targeting not just the military personnel in the region, but also making sure that their voices are heard, especially when it comes to their dissatisfaction or their issues related to exploitation of their resources. Now, if you'd recall, Balochistan is one province in Pakistan which is very resource rich in terms of gas and minerals, and has seen heavy investment via the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, an important project under China's Belt and Road Initiative. billions, tens of billions of dollars have been put into this project, and so far that we've seen Gwadar Port, which connects China's western Xinjiang, railway links, talk about pipelines as well. So crucial facilities that exist in the Baloch province, which have been frequently coming under target, including the killing of few Chinese engineers and Chinese nationals who've been targets in the past as well. So this recent spate of attack only goes on to suggest that the insurgency will likelihood has increased over the past, but should come down during the months of winter and resume again, as is the norm once summer is approaching. But with the situation now unfolding in Pakistan, it will be up to the government to see as to how to take control of these pockets of violence that they see, not just in Balochistan, but also from the Taliban Pakistan. Pakistani Tehreek-e-Taliban, pardon me, which is also the TTP, which has been making similar threats of violence as well around the other parts of Pakistan. So the government's hands are tied at this point. Reassurances are not working with the dissatisfied Baloch dissenters and the tribes who haven't come to any kind of reconciliation with the government, or the targeting of the Punjabis, as they say in the region, whom they completely and totally detest.
All right, Jessica, thank you for the time being, but keep tracking this. We'll keep taking updates from you. The air quality in Lahore, the capital of Pakistan, has deteriorated so drastically that it now ranks as the most polluted city in the world, with air quality reaching hazardous category as the AQI index has reached above 550. The hazard has prompted the closure of schools and work from home mandates. Air pollution from kiln smoke and crop burning has sparked government concern, prompting a major weather crisis in the region. And protests in Bangladesh continue unabated. In a fresh series of demands, Bangladesh Nationalist Party is calling for fresh elections from interim government chief Muhammad Yunus. On Friday in Dhaka, hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets, taking part in a demonstration by the opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party, a long-time opponent of the ousted ex-Premier Sheikh Hasina. They were demanding holding of immediate elections for parliament from the interim government of Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. In Bangladesh, after Sheikh Hasina's ouster from the prime ministerial position, there is no elected government. The parliament has also been dissolved, and the interim government is only responsible to the president, whose resignation is the only demand of the student activist. BNP is the main party involved in political activities in Bangladesh at the moment due to many restrictions imposed on Sheikh Hasina's Awami League.
We are here to protest. We demand a free and fair election under Tariq Rahman. We want our country to have a fair election, and we want to develop our nation in a very good way.
Our demand is for a quick election. If our party comes to power, it will benefit the people. Prices will be reduced and we will ensure affordable food, especially for the poor who struggle with food prices. Our government will make food accessible to everyone.
And even as US President-elect Donald Trump prepares to select his new administration team, sources say there could be a couple of Indian Americans in his team. So how did the Indian American community vote in this presidential election, and how the coming of Trump could impact India-US ties? DD India's Amritpal Singh explores in Florida.
As the election results trickle in, more and more analysis is being done as to who voted for whom, which communities went which way. While there's data for how the Latinos voted, how the black men voted, but there is no survey or data for how the Indian American community voted. Perhaps because the Indian American community is very small. In days to come, it'll emerge as to which way the Indian American community went. I have with me a panel of people. I have with me Professor Ankur Agarwal. He teaches at the Florida Atlantic University. I have with me Dr. Joseph Chalil. He's a Republican supporter. And I also have with me Dr. Sarjan Kurian. He is a Democratic supporter, and in fact he contested the county elections. I'll come to both you gentlemen. First to you, Professor Agarwal. How did the Indian community this time around vote in these elections?
Indian community is quite evenly divided between the Republicans and the Democratic side. They have their issues from both the perspective. I think the voting pattern in the Indian community, a lot of time you have the lineage where you have a strong democratic hold. You always vote for Democratic. There are a lot of affluent Indian American families who are always going for Republicans. They would stay Republicans. So not a lot of time there is a tactical shift in the Indian voting communities. But I absolutely feel that there was a more support towards onto the Republican ticket this time from the Indian Asian community.
Okay, but the Indian American community at one point of time used to be, or most of it used to be, democratic. Why has this shift, according to you, taken place?
It's not true to assume that Indian community is always democratic.
No, it used to be, or majority of it used to be, say, 20 years back. Why has the shift happened?
Again, it also depends upon the Indian community from the economic standard perspective. So you have a lot of affluent families who are now more and more affiliated towards the Republican side of the party, and then you have the the young voters who come in from India and they are starting the families and things like that. They are more leaning towards a Democrat. So it really depends upon which segment of the Indian population are you looking forward to, and then that way you will have a better understanding of the segmentation.
Dr. Chalil, let me come to you. Your red tie clearly points out that your Republican leanings. What worked for the Republicans?
So this is a completely different electorate this time. Completely realigned the party. Trump's Republican Party is not the party of President Bush. The Trump's party is not the Reagan's party. They changed a lot of things, so it is not just the minority voting. So you'll see a lot of blue collar workers, like people who are not college educated, white people, white females, Hispanic male, Hispanic females, even Asian Indians and other Asians all voted for Trump because economy was so bad. It's not just here, again, worldwide, because of the COVID inflation and overspending during COVID, the price of everything went up.
So you're saying Trump got the vote on economy because that was directly affecting people.
Economy was the number one item.
All right.
Number two, I would say immigration. The news about illegal immigrations coming in and they're taking over cities, crime rates going up. That was a big deal. America is a country of immigrants, but they're not a country of illegal immigrants. They wanted legal immigration to happen. So when President Biden let the borders open and let people let in without knowing who they are, like I have family who are waiting for 16 years from India, trying to get a green card here, and these guys are walking in, next day, and they are given flight tickets to travel anywhere they want.
So immigration worked in the favor of. Yes. Let me bring you in, Sergeant Kurian. What didn't work for the Democrats? What went wrong?
I think the Democrats played well. They did their best. I think the major issue is economy. And the Democrats, in terms of Vice President Kamala Harris's ticket, was she didn't have enough time to project, to reach out to the undecided people.
No, but there is a critique of Kamala Harris in this election that her message wasn't clear enough. While Trump spoke very clearly, he was very clear about what he stood for, and Kamala Harris was dithering.
You're absolutely right. Donald Trump's administration had a strategy which had a consistent message for the people. And our message, we should have resonated amongst the young voters, who were the major voting bloc that would have decided this factor. Right now, we have about 15,000 people that has not voted. As an Asian myself and a chair of the Asian caucus, I think we did not have enough people reach out to our Asian communities to build it all together. And I think it's a time to reflect on the grassroots levels of people trying to bring everyone together.
Let me ask Dr. Chalil. Dr. Chalil, Donald Trump's made some very tall claims during his campaign, saying that he will carry out the biggest mass deportation in the history of America. according to the Homeland Studies statistics, about 11 million illegal migrants are in the country. He alleged 21 million. Whatever be the reality, is that really possible for him to do?
It is possible. Again, there are strategies on how they can do it. They can deputize local law enforcement. Especially his interest is getting the illegal aliens who are criminals out first, as opposed to everybody in the whole country.
On the economy, how does he, plan to get the economy back on track, and that too fast, given, as Professor Agarwal was saying, the rising cost of living. You were also talking about the rising cost of living affecting people directly, and that's why he's got the mandate.
That is correct. Economy, I think the mandate is to fix it. He will unleash the power of natural resources in USA. America is sitting on more oil than Saudi Arabia. So if you will let more drilling happen, sell more American oil and reduce the price of transportation, the inflation will come down, which thereby the property, the price of grocery store values, the price of milk, the price of egg will come down.
Okay. Let me bring an independent voice back in. Professor Agarwal, during the campaign, you saw it a very deeply divided society, as American society divided right from the middle. How is the gap, the polarization gap, going to be filled in over the next 4 years?
I think this time, if you see during the election time, lot of traditional party votes already crossed their party lines and they voted. For example, there was a tactical shift you can see from the Hispanic vote. Similarly, if you look into the Jewish population vote, because of the strong support of Republican Party towards Israel, a lot of Jewish votes also crossed over to the Republicans from Democrat and they voted for it. So in the end, it is the policies which unifies the country. It's not the party line. If you put up those policies, it allows people to come together and then in the end, the elections are over and the country unifies. And that's how the country, this becomes the world's biggest democracy in the world.
So, Mr. Kurin, Kamala Harris, during her concession speech, said the election is over, the fight is not. What does she mean by that? And isn't it time for the Democrats to start up, working with the Republicans to see that this divide that has been created in the American community during the campaign, which was, some say, went down to the depths that's never been seen before, needs to be bridged?
Absolutely agree with you. The gap, to bridge the gap, it's going to take a while. There is a racial divide amongst our communities right now. Patching up is going to take a while because right now the people's choice is economy, bringing food on the table, and the middle class is being affected. So that's what the mandate says. The aftermath of what the Trump administration is going to do, the impact that comes, we do not know yet, because this is a new revolution right now. So if they deliver and the impact onto our families is yet to be seen. And I believe that, we can work on both sides of the aisle and try to see what's best for the people. And that's how we should go, as to dividing us within ourselves, whether if it's Latinos, African Americans, Asians. But I think we will see as to what I have a optimistic approach towards. I think America will prevail eventually as a good democracy.
So, Dr. Chalil, do you think with the coming in of Donald Trump, it's going to affect Indo-US relationship?
I would definitely think it will affect Indo-US relationships. I think it's going to be very positive. Number one, I believe the relationship between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump is very strong. So there's a personal friendship between those two leaders, which will definitely help. Number two, I believe President Trump will try to control imports from China and the policies towards China and policies towards Pakistan and policies towards Bangladesh, which will also be good to India. So it'll be stabilize the region. He will be cooperating with India on all anti-terrorism policies. He may not be sending American troops anywhere, which is good. So I believe it will be a true partnership, an equal partnership, yet to see how, but of course, America will be pushed. Trump's purpose is not to push India. Trump is for America first. He wants to promote American manufacturing, American jobs.
That brings in concerns, especially for India, that what if he imposes tariffs on Indian imports?
It's possible that he could raise salary requirements on H-1B visas. There are some Indian imports which could he could demand that maybe motorcycles like Harley Davidson could be given a waiver or matching tariffs, or maybe a Tesla car could become cheaper in India to import, and in vice versa. Trump is a businessman. He wants to negotiate. He wants to make a deal. So India, I'm pretty sure Prime Minister Modi will want to make a deal with America as opposed to fighting with America.
So clearly, bets are being hedged here that with the coming of Donald Trump, the relationship between India and the United States, which does stand on its own legs because it's a special comprehensive strategic partnership covering a wide array of areas, will get a new vigor given the chemistry between the two leaders. With cameraman Sanjay Jaina, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Florida.
And US President-elect Donald Trump's Republican Party held on to a narrow edge on Friday as election officials tallied the final votes. This will determine control of the US House of Representatives. Republicans have secured 212 seats till now, 6 short of the majority in the 435-member chamber, with 23 races left to be called. According to projections by Edison Research, Republicans are set to hold a majority of at least 53 seats in the Senate or upper chamber, and the White House have already flipped to Republicans, meaning Donald Trump could have significant power to carry out his political agenda after he is sworn in on 20th January 2025. Control of the House gives the party the power to initiate spending legislation and launch impeachment proceedings against officials. And the United States has charged an Iranian man in connection with an alleged plot ordered by Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards Corps to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump. In a statement, Justice Department said that Farhad Shakeri had informed law enforcement that he was tasked on October 7, 2024 with providing a plan to kill Trump. Shakeri allegedly told law enforcement he had no plans to formulate a plan to kill Trump within the IRGC's timeline. The department described Shakeri, who is 51, as an IRGC asset residing in Tehran. It said he immigrated to the US as a child and was deported in or about 2008 following a robbery conviction. Shakeri is at large and believed to be in Iran. 2 other individuals charged on Friday, Carlisle Rivera and Jonathan Lloyd Holt, who are American citizens, were arrested in New York and are accused of helping the Iranian government surveil a separate US citizen of Iranian origin. A federal judge on Friday granted a request by Special Counsel Jack Smith to pause the case against Donald Trump for conspiring to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. In a filing with District Judge, Smith noted that Trump won the White House race this week and is to be inaugurated as president on January 20th, 2025. He asked the judge to vacate the filing deadlines in the case to afford the government time to assess this unprecedented circumstance and determine the appropriate course going forward consistent with Department of Justice policy. Judge granted Smith's request without comment. The Justice Department has a long-standing policy of not prosecuting a sitting president. Smith said he would file a status report with the court by December 2nd. Israel launched 14 airstrikes at different locations in Beirut's southern suburbs on Friday night. The airstrike damaged buildings in the Burj Barajneh, Harith Harek, Lailaki and Hadat suburbs of the region. Smoke billowed from damaged buildings and firefighters extinguished flames the next morning of the strike. The Israeli military spokesperson Avichai Adrai had asked residents to evacuate the region. Israel launched a ground operation and airstrikes against Hezbollah in late September, a year after the Israel-Hamas conflict began. Now, Amsterdam has banned demonstrations for 3 days after Israeli soccer fans were beaten and injured in violent clashes in Amsterdam. Dutch police had launched major investigation into multiple incidents following the Europa League soccer game Thursday night between Israel's Maccabi Tel Aviv and Dutch side Ajax. Amsterdam has implemented several additional security measures in the wake of the unrest. Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof said he was horrified by the anti-Semitic attacks on Israeli citizens. Besides, he has assured Netanyahu that the perpetrators will be identified and prosecuted. All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre joins us live for the latest. Akshay, what are you picking up? How many arrests have taken place so far? And a major investigation into multiple violent incidents have been launched.
Well, several arrests have already taken place, Abhishek, and when it comes to the measures that have been implemented by the Dutch authorities, they have put a ban on protests for the next 3 days as far as the upcoming, ongoing chaos in Amsterdam is concerned. Also, the authorities, especially the mayor of Amsterdam, has put a ban on face covering clothing as well as a ban on from people carrying any kind of object that can be used to attack any other person. Now, the situation in Amsterdam remains grim. In fact, tensions still persist when it comes to the clashes that took place yesterday. And now what we are seeing in the city of Netherlands is that the city has in fact clearly been divided in political lines, which could have just been a soccer game. It has been turned into a full-blown political chaos and a diplomatic rift as well. Now, the exact reasons for this clash are still unclear, and there are counter allegations and allegations coming in from both sides, while there is one side that is claiming that some of the supporters of Tel Aviv Maccabi were claiming or were chanting anti-Arab slogans. There are other kind of allegations as well that these anti-Semitic attacks were carried out without any kind of provocation. In fact, there are certain videos that are surfacing online where people are running from these kind of attackers, shouting that they are not Jewish. So clearly, the attack that took place in Amsterdam were anti-Semitic in nature. The kind of attacks that have been carried out has clearly showed one side of Europe as well, that when it comes to these kind of targeted attacks, harassments, threats, they still remain when it comes to ethnic divides that are now more clearly emerging in not just Amsterdam but different parts of European cities.
But Akshay, when Ajax Amsterdam defeated Maccabi, the football match, the fans left the stadium peacefully without any incident. Tell us, how did it all start? Clashes had started before the match also. Was it a planned anti-Semitic attack against Israeli citizens?
Well, all that is being investigated, Abhishek, and we'll get a clearer idea once the Dutch authorities come up with the exact reason for these attacks that have taken place. As of now, what we are hearing from the sources and from the people on the ground who have been witnessing these attacks are saying that there were two groups that were chanting slogans against each other. Now there were certain pro-Palestine groups that were involved in these kind of sloganeering, and there was one group that was pro-Israel and anti-Palestine group as well. So there were certain slogans, there were tensions that were there even before the match started, when the people were in the stadium, but quickly these sloganeerings turned into attacks against each other and clashes that were not just limited to the stadium but also erupted in different parts of the city. So that clearly hints at some kind of systematic attack or planning behind this attack that took place, because once at the same time these kind of attacks taking place in different parts of the city cannot be a coincidence, and it has to be there has to be certain systematic arrangement as far as why these kind of attacks took place in different parts of the city at the same time. So there clearly was certain communication, but we have to wait for the Dutch authorities to properly investigate these attacks so that we can get more clarity on why it happened and so that it doesn't happen again in the future.
Akshay, tell us about the reactions also. Have the world leaders also reacted?
Well, absolutely. In fact, especially the Dutch authorities, they have implemented certain measures, heightened security, implemented certain measures on the ground as well. Like I mentioned about banning protests for the next 3 days, stopping people from wearing any kind of face covering clothing that can cover their faces that have been seen in yesterday's attacks, and ban from on people from carrying any kind of object that can be used in these kind of attacks against any ethnic group or any other people. So that is being implemented on the ground. Security measures are being taken, are being implemented. Also, the Dutch authorities claim that people were seen on the scooters trying to chase, especially the Jewish people that were not just those who travelled from Israel to the city, but also the Jewish residents of Amsterdam as well. And people were being asked if they are Jewish, and these kind of incidents have taken place. So clearly there will have to be certain implementation of certain measures that can prevent such kind of attacks from happening again in not just Amsterdam but in Europe. But clearly the world leaders are condemning this kind of attack that has taken place, which has left more than 30 people injured. There were also reports of people being thrown around even in neighboring rivers. But as of now, most of the people who were hospitalized have been released. About 10 people have suffered serious injuries that are still being treated in the hospitals.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Moving on to the latest in Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russian air defenses intercepted and destroyed 15 Ukrainian drones over the southern Bryansk region on Saturday. Meanwhile, Russian drone strikes killed at least 1 and injured 13, including 2 children in Ukraine's Odessa. Russia launched 51 drones that damaged several residential apartment buildings, private houses, commercial buildings, and dozens of cars as they caught fire in an overnight strike on Friday. The Ukrainian air defense units shot down 32 of the 51 drones launched. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. A constitutional court in Bolivia has barred former President Evo Morales from running again for office. Morales had been vying for the candidacy of his MAS party alongside his former mentee-turned-rival President Luis Arce. But in a decision last week that was reported on Friday, Bolivia's constitutional court ruled that presidents were limited to serving 2 terms, whether consecutive or non-consecutive. A volcano in eastern Indonesia has erupted again, sending a giant ash tower 9 kilometers into the sky, days after it killed 9 people and forced thousands of locals to evacuate. And Elon Musk SpaceX launched a new batch of Starlink satellites successfully into space on Friday. The Falcon 9 rocket launched from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, carrying 20 Starlink satellites into orbit.
Vehicle is pitching downrange. And back ignition.
Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar attends 4th convocation ceremony of the National Institute of Technology in Delhi. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman interacts with students in Bengaluru, shares India's growth story. And Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh N. Chandrababu Naidu launches a seaplane demo flight operation.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar attended the 4th convocation ceremony of the National Institute of Technology in Delhi on Saturday. Vice President Dhankar awarded gold medals to the meritorious students of the institute. Addressing the event, VP encouraged the youth to think outside the box and choose new options beyond traditional thinking.
Blue economy, space economy, disruptive technologies, they are amongst the new ideas that need harnessing. India is amongst few countries that have quantum computing commission allocated 6,000 crores. A country that already has in place green hydrogen mission committed 18,000 crores. There is great focus on disruptive technologies that are no less equivalent of another industrial revolution.
And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday wrote an article in honor of Ratan Tata, one of the noted industrialists who died a month ago. In his signed article in Indian Express newspaper op-ed, Prime Minister Modi said that the absence is deeply felt across every segment of society globally. Ratan Tata passed away in Breach Candy Hospital, Mumbai on October 9. Remembering even after a month, Prime Minister mourned his death by underlining that all miss him globally. He mentioned in his article that those passionate about the environment and devoted to philanthropy are equally saddened. PM said that for the youth, Sri Ratan Tata was an inspiration, a reminder that dreams are worth pursuing and that success can coexist with compassion as well as humility. Prime Minister Modi said that Ratan Tata represented the finest traditions of Indian enterprise and a steadfast commitment to the values of integrity, excellence and service. Prime Minister Modi remembered Ratan Tata also for his contributions in fight against terrorism, saying that his swift reopening of the iconic Taj Hotel in Mumbai after the 26/11 terror attacks was a rallying call to the nation being united and refusing to yield to terrorism. Prime Minister Modi said, and I quote, "Just a few weeks ago, I was in Vadodara with the President of the Government of Spain, Mr. Pedro Sanchez, and we jointly inaugurated an aircraft complex where C-295 aircrafts would be made in India. It was Sri Ratan Tata who started working on this. Needless to say, Sri Ratan Tata's presence was greatly missed." Unquote. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday slammed Congress at a Maharashtra poll rally, stating that if the grand old party is strengthened, the country will be weakened and helpless. In the ongoing Maharashtra state elections, the political climate is intensifying. Prime Minister Modi addressed a rally in Dhule, accusing the Congress party of dividing the SC, ST, OBCs and Adivasis along the caste lines. He stated that Congress has lost its national relevance and now survives only through the support of other parties in states like Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Jharkhand. He said Congress ruled states have become ATM for the Congress royal family.
मैं महाआघाड़ी की घटक कांग्रेस का एक उदाहरण आपको देता हूं। जहां कांग्रेस सरकार बन जाती है, वो राज्य कांग्रेस के शाही परिवार का एटीएम बन जाता है। एटीएम पता है ना, लोग उसमें से पैसे निकालते एटीएम। ये कांग्रेस का एटीएम बन जाता है, शाही परिवार का एटीएम बन जाता है। इन दिनों हिमाचल, तेलंगाना और कर्नाटका जैसे राज्य ये कांग्रेस के शाही परिवार के एटीएम बन गए हैं, एटीएम।
And India's Union Minister Amit Shah addresses a rally in Palamu, Jharkhand, where he claimed Rahul Gandhi accused him of promoting inequality in India and assured that under the governance of Bharatiya Janata Party, minorities will not witness inequality.
यहाँ से राहुल गांधी को चेताना चाहता हूँ, आपके मन में जो भी षड्यंत्र हो, राहुल बाबा, जब तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी है, इस देश में माइनॉरिटी को आरक्षण नहीं मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा। पिछड़ा वर्ग, दलित और आदिवासी को आरक्षण बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ने दिया है। आप इसका अपमान नहीं कर सकते।
And India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman interacted with students at the Jain University in Bengaluru, the capital of southern Indian state of Karnataka. Talking about the country's banking system, Finance Minister highlighted the change brought to it by Prime Minister Narendra Modi after the evolution of digital infrastructure.
The fact that Jan Dhan Yojana was brought in was to make sure that banking is available all over the country. Everybody gets banking access. And because we started off much in advance, so when you brought it in, it was with an intent of giving everybody a financial inclusion. You be a part of the financial world which is available before you so that you can benefit from it.
And Nirmala Sitharaman also chaired a meeting to review 10 regional rural banks in Bengaluru. The performance review covered the Indian states of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Kerala and Union Territory of Puducherry. And India's gems and jewellery sector hold a prominent position in the global market. They contribute significantly to the economy with 7% of GDP and employs over 5 million people. The yellow metals appeal as a haven investment and a perfect hedge against inflation is likely to continue into the next year. So what makes India's global tech in the world? didnt India's Anil Thomas has details.
The gems and jewelry sector in India has a profound history in the country's culture. It has expanded itself to become a global market and is set to see substantial growth driven by sweeping government reforms.
It's about the cultural identity of India as well, where our designs are specific and worldwide they appreciate it, and they send a message across the world that India has a niche in this sector.
Gold has hit 42 record highs in 2024 and continues to be a precious metal in the markets. The yellow metal hit a record of 78,000 rupees in the current year.
The momentum on gold has been very strong in 2024. We've seen 42 peaks of the gold price through the year, largely driven, as you rightly said, by geopolitics. There's a lot of central bank buying, but also the financial markets.
The All India Gem and Jewelry Domestic Council believes that the prevailing global economic uncertainties and geopolitical tensions help position gold as a secure investment and an effective hedge against inflation.
And it's really driven by the fact that people are fearful of what's happening in the world, geopolitics, uncertainties. So people are investing more and more money in gold, and that's why we've seen the gold price go up so much.
There is a growth of 15 to 20%, which is to be seen from 2008. We've already written it in different magazines that 915% people have got returns in gold, 615% in silver, and only 815% in the capital markets.
Another feather in India's growth story in this sector has been the Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council. Their recent initiatives such as the IJEX in Dubai and strategic trade collaborations in the Middle East have held the MSME sector find wings.
दुबई में हमारे एक्सपोर्ट जो हैंडमेड ज्वेलरी एक्सपोर्ट है वो 2 से 5 बिलियन अभी एक साल में हम लोग आगे बढ़ा है. सीपा उसका रीजन है, प्लस ये जो आईजीएक्स है वो रीजन है, और उधर पर ऑलरेडी 30 एंटरप्रेन्योर्स उसका लाभ ले चुका है और 5 एंटरप्रेन्योर उधर पर बेस जमा चुका है जो एमएसएमई एंटरप्रेन्योर है.
India's gold designs are famous globally for their excellent craftsmanship and bright traditions. However, there are challenges like finding reliable suppliers for raw materials and skilled artisans in this sector.
India has a huge potential of exports, of growing our business all over the world, and everyone is looking at India, but the roots have to be made stronger, and karigars are the roots.
The children of those great karigars, they don't want to get into this because it is much better to get a class 10 or class 12 degree and go join a call center because they find it more dignified. Somehow we have to bring back the dignity and the prestige.
Gold is a vital portfolio hedge during downturns. However, the prices are likely to see an upsurge in the present future. Gold has been a timeless allure for Indian consumers, but now this trend is seen overseas too. Anil Thomas, DD India, New Delhi.
The Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh N. Chandrababu Naidu on Saturday launched a seaplane demo flight operation from Prasar Barrage in Vijayawada to Srishalam in Nandyal district. Chief Minister Naidu and Civil Aviation Minister K. Ram Mohan Naidu boarded the seaplane and set off for the temple town. He highlighted that Prime Minister Narendra Modi also came forward to promote seaplane operations in the southern state, which does not require the expensive infrastructure needed for a regular airport. With seaplane services, the state government aims to position Andhra Pradesh at the forefront of India's water-based aviation sector. Chief Minister observed that innovative ideas will remove poverty and generate income. In Bangladesh, vehicular movement on Dhaka-Mymensingh highway in Ghazipur district has been suspended since Saturday morning as ready-made garment workers of some factories blocked the highway, demanding 3 months of unpaid wages. Police officer in charge of the concerned area told the media that the workers of different garment factories staged demonstrations in the last several days for the payment of their wages for 3 months. As their salaries remain unpaid, workers of some apparel factories again blocked the highway in the morning, causing immense suffering to the commuters. The blockade caused a heavy traffic congestion several kilometers long in both the Mymensingh and Tangali directions as well as towards Dhaka. Local residents and regular highway users expressed frustration over the blockade, saying that frequent roadblocks due to such protests caused significant disruption in movements of daily commuters, shipment of goods and services across the area. However, the RMG sector workers of Bangladesh are facing many issues in recent times. The demands voiced by garment workers include equal opportunities for men and women, increased wages, improved benefits and lighter workloads. In addition, delays in wage payments, alleged blacklisting of dismissed workers and contentious issues surrounding unionization have fueled anger and dissatisfaction. And superstar singer Beyonce tops the list of Grammy Award contenders. Meanwhile, renowned Indian musician and 3-time Grammy Award winner Ricky Cage gets his 4th Grammy nomination for his latest music album, Break of Dawn. The latest nomination is the first ever solo artist Grammy nomination for an Indian since the legendary Pandit Ravi Shankar, and the only one this year. The latest Grammy nomination is a testament to his continued influence and innovation in the Indian music industry as he seeks to inspire both listeners and the medical community to explore music's healing power. With his Grammy nomination, Ricky Cage once again sets a powerful example of how music can inspire positive change across the globe. All right, sports updates now. We'll start with hockey. The International Hockey Federation announced on Friday that former Indian goalkeeper P.R. Srijesh has been named the Men's Goalkeeper of the Year, while skipper Harmanpreet Singh won the Men's Player of the Year award for the 2023-24 season. Both players have won in their respective categories for the 3rd time in their careers. 28-year-old Harmanpreet led the country to its 2nd straight bronze medal at the Olympics in Paris this year, where he was also the top goal scorer with 10 goals. Srijesh faced 62 shots across 8 games at the Olympics and saved 50 of them. He proved to be the hero of the quarterfinals against Great Britain, where he helped the team win 4-2 in the penalty shootout. The 36-year-old retired from the sport after the tournament. And the spirit of inclusivity took center stage in Delhi on Saturday. Special Olympics Bharat, the National Sports Federation for athletes with intellectual and developmental disabilities, organized a run for inclusion. Thousands came together to stand in solidarity, united by one mission: to make sports accessible to everyone. Special Olympics Bharat organized a unique run for inclusion in Delhi on Saturday. Special Olympics Bharat is India's national sports federation for athletes with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Harsh Malhotra, Minister of State for Corporate Affairs and Road Transport and Highways, and Special Olympics Bharat President Dr. Mallika Nadda flagged off the event.
जो साथी यहाँ पर आज रन फॉर इंक्लूजन के लिए एकत्रित हुए हैं, स्पेशली मैं उन स्पेशली एबल्ड बच्चों के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं और उनके लिए मेरा ये भी संदेश है मंच की तरफ से कि आप सब लोग भारत का भविष्य हैं।
BJP leaders Bansuri Swaraj and Manoj Tiwari were also present, adding their voices in support of the movement. Malika Nadda, president of Special Olympics Bharat, said the run symbolizes both the spirit of sports and the power of inclusion.
The Run for Inclusion is organized with the motto to include everyone in the mainstream of the society. We have 100 school children who are participating in the Run for Inclusion. Along with the school children, we have more than 1,000 special athletes who are part of this Run for Inclusion.
Inclusion is a revolution that each one of us must join, we must propagate. It's extremely important. One, because this actually promotes physical health. It actually encourages going into the outdoors. Second, when you actually see such a large participation, you also realize that the awareness campaign is such a success.
The 3-kilometer run drew over 10,000 participants, all standing in solidarity with special athletes. More than 1,000 special athletes from 100 educational institutions participated, adding to the event's success. This run for inclusion serves as a precursor to the Special Olympics Asia Pacific Bowling and Bocce competition scheduled to take place in New Delhi from November 18 to 23rd. Narayan Singh's report, DD India. And Dr. Malika Nadda, president of Special Olympics Bharat, stated that the Run for Inclusion aims to bring athletes with intellectual disabilities into the mainstream. In an exclusive conversation with DD India's Narayan Singh, she affirmed that Special Olympics Bharat is fully committed to enhancing the welfare of special athletes.
Right now I am joined by the president of the Special Olympic Bharat, Dr. Malika Nadda ji. Ma'am, a big occasion considering the fact that the way the Indian Special Olympic movement is growing by leaps and bounds. How you look this Run for Inclusion in that process?
Special Olympics Bharat is a sports federation working for the intellectually challenged athletes across the country. Today, the Run for Inclusion is organized with the motto to include everyone in the mainstream of the society. We have 100 school children who are participating in the Run for Inclusion. Along with the school children, we have more than 1,000 special athletes who are part of this Run for Inclusion.
So how the concept of the unified events is helping the cause of the Special Olympic Bharat and at the world level also?
Inclusion is the key word today. Inclusion in every field, in education, in sports, in social living and in our lifestyle is what we are looking at. इसी के माध्यम से हम अपने प्रधानमंत्री जी का जो मकसद है जिसमें सबके साथ के साथ सबका विकास हो, इसके लिए हम स्पेशल ओलंपिक्स भारत की ओर से रन फॉर इंक्लूजन के माध्यम से इस सपने को साकार करने के लिए आगे बढ़ रहे हैं.
How you look that the big events are coming to India?
First time in the history of Special Olympics Bharat, we are organizing a regional game, Asia Pacific regional game, bocce and bowling, where 12 countries are participating. Each and everyone come to cheer our special athletes, motivate them and include them in the mainstream.
So the motto is to include the athletes with intellectual disabilities in the mainstream, and the Run for Inclusion is the perfect example of that. With camera person Piyush, Narayan Singh, DD India, Delhi.
Cricket now. Australia A beat India A by 6 wickets in the second unofficial test at the Melbourne Cricket Ground to win the bilateral series 2-0. Set 168 to win. Australia A's Sam Constas stood firm with an unbeaten 73, anchored by Boy Webster's 46. India gave a tough fight with Prasidh Krishna's 4-wicket haul in the first innings and Dhruv Jurel scoring 68 in the second. However, Australia's consistent bowling led by Corey Rocchicioli and Michael Nessa took the game away from the visitors. Australia A clinched victory with the day to spare, securing a series sweep against India. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.
The Indian diaspora has made